لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to our Nusuk Educational Series presented by Ithraa Alkhair in partnership with Ainul Haramain. We would like to welcome you to part 3, filling out the application. And if you are on part 3, please ensure that you have covered the first part where you actually create your account, and part 2 where we covered uploading documents and preparing those documents before you upload them. So these topics have already been covered, and once you submit that, you will proceed to filling out the form. So today we will be going over all this information so you have an easier time to understand what information is needed and what information is not needed. So we'll be covering everything in detail, inshallah. As we get started, your email should already be automatically generated in there for whichever email you actually registered with, and then you will go ahead and proceed with putting in a phone number. You will need to change the country as it automatically comes in as a Saudi number. So make sure you're changing the country, and then so it will automatically pop up the country code, which is +1 for the US. And then you can proceed to put in your number. And then if you have a Saudi phone number, you can put it in. If not, you don't need to. You will put in your social status. You have multiple options: single, married, divorced. You have widowed in there, and other. So these are all your options. For the sample purposes, we're just going to use married. And then for your emergency contact, even though it's not required, we do recommend putting it in. So you can put in the name of the person who you will be assigning as your emergency contact, and then you will proceed to put in their phone number. And please remember that the country code automatically will be on Saudi. You will need to change that to the US. If you click on where you will see the US flag, you will be able to change the country code from there. Can we click on that so we can show it as an example? So you have all the countries in there. It will automatically come as Saudi, so you will need to change this, and then you will select the United States and proceed to put in your number, inshallah, so this can go through easily. For the street address, we're just going to give you a sample, 10-10. And then we proceed to the next part. Let's put 100th Street. And then for the PO box, we can put in our zip code, 12345. And you will, of course, fill out this information according to what your information reflects. And then for the apartment or house number, you will just put in your apartment or house number. In our case, we'll just use the house number again, 10-10. So for your house number, it will not accept more than 2 digits. So whether it's an apartment number or house number, put as many digits as you can. So for now, we're just going to use 10. For your nearest embassy, you will choose whichever one is closest to you. So whether it be Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, or Washington. And Washington is basically Washington, D.C. So for this case, we'll just use Washington for now. And we will continue ahead to our occupational details. So for occupation, we'll just use the manager. And for current employer, let's just use CVS as an example right now. So you will put in over here whatever your occupation is and your current employer. And for your previous employer, if you don't have any, just put NA for not applicable, or you can add in your employer as well too. And you have 2 options when it comes to the sector, whether you're working private or government. You will choose accordingly. Government will be any government like state, city, federal jobs, and private will be working for any corporation privately. And as you can see, for the work contact number, it's not necessary, but if you want to put it in, you're more than welcome to put it in. Then we will move on to the arrival details. This is just a random date for the expected arrival date. You can choose anything from end of May, choose 27, 28, 29, 30, 31st. Any of these dates are fine. So for this case, we'll select May 27th. And total expected days, let's just say 14 days. And we will select air for our method of travel. And for the flight number, let's just choose a flight out of JFK. So we're going to use SV20, which is JFK to Jeddah flight. And then we will save. We want to make sure we're saving after each step, especially if you're planning to take your time with this. So you can select the double check all your information, whether everything is correct or not. And then if you decide to continue later, make sure you click on save and continue later, or you can click on next and proceed to the next steps for this application. All right. So for the background details, you may get these warnings for extending the session as well too. So for your background details, previously received the visa to enter the KSA. So if you actually traveled before for Umrah or maybe Hajj before, you can put this in. So let's say yes in this case. Most people are traveling on tourist visa to Saudi, so we're going to use tourist visa as an example. And then we're going to move on to the next one, previous visa rejection to the KSA. So we'll select no in this case. This person has not been rejected. And then we will continue down. Does your passport contain any restriction condition valid only for one trip? So someone may have special documents in some of the cases, but this does not apply to most people. So you can select no for this. Do you have relatives residing in the KSA? I'm going to select no for this as well too. For this case, we don't have any relatives in the KSA. Do you hold other nationalities? No, this person is only a US citizen. And then we will scroll down. And have you traveled to other countries in the past 6 months? So we'll select yes. And please select country if you click on that. If you have traveled somewhere in the last 6 months, put it in there. If you have not avoided, you don't need to fill this out then. You can select no in that case. So let's pull up UAE, United Arab Emirates. And let's say for tourism, or you can put in vacation or whatever the reason may be, maybe visiting family. Let's put in the travel dates as November 10 to 15, 2024. And this was the only traveling for this particular case we're going to be using. This was done. But if you have not traveled, just press no and you can continue ahead. Again, if you want to stop at this point and you want to pause it, you can always save and continue later, but we're still going to continue and move on to the next steps, inshallah. So let's go ahead to our next set of questions. So this is for background details. So we're going to go over each question and then we will be covering it. Have you ever been deported from any country, including Saudi Arabia, for any reason, including violating the residency system? So we will select no for here. For this case, this person has not. Have you ever worked in media or political field? We're also going to go with no. Have you ever served in the armed forces, the internal security forces, any state-sponsored forces, any private entity, or an intelligence agency, whether the job is civilian, military, or through a contractor? So we're also going to go no for this. And of course, if any of these questions apply to you, you will need to provide a description. Have you ever been sentenced to prison in your country or any country? We're also going to go with no. This person does not have a record. Have you ever been arrested or convicted in terrorism-related causes? We're also going to go with no over here. Have you ever been arrested, convicted in smuggling or money laundering cases or wanted by Interpol? We're also going to go with no. Do you belong or have you ever belonged to any party or organization that has been designated internationally or locally as a terrorist organization or party? We're going to go with no with this as well. And then have the required vaccinations been taken? So we'll click on yes, and we're just going to provide them with meningitis. And then, do you have any physical disability? So if you have any physical disability, you can click yes over here, but we're still going to go with no. If you do, you can provide a description. And then let's move on to the next step. All right. Do you have any chronic disease or allergies? If you have them, let's go with yes for just for the purpose. So let's go in under disease. By the way, this information will come up in their health system. So if you have any of these things, make sure you mention it in there. Let's go as an example. Let's just put in sugar, diabetes. So every time you go to any of their health clinics, and this information will pull up. Well, they're asking for the medication used. So if you take insulin, you can put in insulin, sugar curing tablets to treat high blood pressure. So let's just go with sugar curing tablets for this particular case. It's not something too severe. Severity of the condition. And then needs attention, stable and livable, whatever, however it suits you. So this way, when you go and seek medical assistance, they will treat you accordingly because they will have everything in the system. Go ahead, you can click on stable and livable. Date of last admission. If you were admitted to the hospital, you can put that in there. We're just going to use it as a sample date. Let's put 2020. December 10. All right. So, do you have any mental illnesses? And if you say no, you can just skip these sections. But for the health portion, at least, we recommend actually filling it out just in case, if you have diabetes, blood pressure, any of these things, so they can take a look. So we'll go with no for the mental illnesses. For the special needs, we will also go with no. Do you have any surgeries? In this case, we will also go with no. But if you have any of these things, please do fill it out. And then we're gonna go down, and we have to select the blood type just in case you sustain any injuries while you're in Saudi and Hajj, so they can arrange the blood. So let's go with O negative for this case, just as an example. And if you have any food allergies, you can add them over here. And if there's anything else you would like to add, you can also add it in the last section. We will skip this, and we will proceed ahead to the next step. So for this last step, all you're doing is you're reviewing your information, whether the phone number you provided is correct, whether the emergency information is correct, your address, your zip code, your occupation. We will keep scrolling down, and your arrival details, then your background details where we answered all the questions. Then they have, so every section we've taken care of. Whether if you feel anything is missing, you can edit each section individually and actually make the necessary changes. And then all you have to do is consent. I consent to the use of provided exclusively for her journey, including Hajj visa issuance. So you're accepting all of them. Just read them through. And then if you have any family members, you can actually go ahead and follow the same procedure and add your family members, inshallah. And then you will go ahead and click on submit once you're done adding the family members. So I want to just show you how it looks if we select on add family members. So this is how it's going to look. You will put in the email address for the family member, and then from there you proceed. This is my, and then you put in the relationship over there. Click on that, please. You need to verify the email first, and then you will go ahead and being able to actually add the family members. and then you will add their country of residence as well too, and then it will let you start adding the family members. This is a pretty fairly simple procedure. So inshallah, in future videos, we will try to cover a bit more on adding the family members. But for now, let's submit this application for one individual. And you have successfully completed the step that you need for actually actually submitting for the verification. And this step is also very crucial because if the verification fails or if it's delayed, you need to make sure all the information is correct, because this information will be used in order to provide you the visa. So the visa will reflect this information. Jazakallah khair for joining today, and we look forward to guiding you in this series where we are covering educational series on Nusuk presented by Ithraa Alkhair in partnership with Ainul Haramain. Assalamu alaikum.